Happy Sunday, everybody. I have partnered up with Home Depot to show you guys this cordless miter saw and how I DIY'd an AC unit cover for under $40 with that miter saw. I wanted to keep this as simple as I could, so I pocket hole screwed together two 2x4s that were going to be the outside posts, which are 36 inches long, and then I took two 1x2s that were 38 inches long and connected the pieces together to make a basic frame. Flip this frame over, I laid it out onto my garage floor to just make sure I had enough space to work with it, and then we're going to dive into this miter saw because we're going to use it to be cutting down the fence pieces. To cut the fence pieces down to make the actual cover at the 45-degree angle, I decided to whip out this Milwaukee M18 18-volt cordless 10-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw. That sounds like a ton of information hitting you, but basically what I'm hesitant about is the fact that it's cordless. You just use the battery that you use in any of your other Milwaukee tools. Included in the box, you get the 10-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw, a blade wrench, carbide tipped blade, dust bag, and clamp. Something that I like is when you use the blade wrench to install the blade, it actually says this side towards blade, so you don't get confused if this is your first time installing a miter saw blade. You can also see a white little arrow right underneath where I am securing the blade into place. That tells you which way the teeth of the blade need to be going. When I got this miter saw set up and I took a step back and looked at it, not only does it look pretty badass, but I was very curious how powerful this was going to be. So I charged the battery, popped it in the back, and started just to give it a go. This is totally a personal preference. You can build a workshop table for this that you can move around. You can install this permanently on a workshop bench, or you can do what I did and get the Milwaukee miter saw stand. And the reason that I did that is because I will be using this on location, and I wanted to start to test how easy it was to bring a compound miter saw to different job sites. This supposedly delivers up to 400 cuts per charge, and I say that because I didn't do 400 cuts, so I don't know that for sure, which actually might be a fun little challenge to do. Anyways, it also has a dual bevel with 9 dedents and an easy access bevel lever. I locked the miter saw into a 45-degree angle because that is the only one I'm going to be needing for these fence posts to be cut down, and I started just cutting away, and I'm leaving access on both sides because I'm going to be using a circular saw to cut it flush. The layout of the design is totally up to you, but because I'm installing this against a fence that has just like these straight lines, I wanted to use my speed square to create a 45-degree angle that I then nail gun these pieces into place. I used a piece of scrap wood and had that the entire project as my spacer to just make sure that everything was spaced evenly. The wood that you see me using is actually a 1-inch by 6-inch by 6-foot redwood dog ear fence picket piece, and it is in the fence lumber section of Home Depot. They are $4.67 each, so it is kind of a bargain if you're looking for just a budget-friendly AC unit cover because it is 6 inches wide, so it covers a lot of space. I continued spacing, angling, and nailing the pieces into place until it was covering the entire frame, and then added some wood putty to fill the nail holes. I decided to flip it back over and pre-drill some holes through the 2x4 where the lumber was meeting on the other side and add some 2.5-inch screws to secure it a little bit more. Again, this is my first time building an AC unit cover, so you're seeing me go through all my process basically on every video in my channel. You're seeing me go through the process very naturally. I lined up my circular saw where the excess was hanging off and just cut it to be flush. I did leave the top, however, because I wasn't sure how long I wanted to keep those top pieces. I repeated that exact same process for the second side. I am going to be tweaking something once I get onto location, not only because one of the pieces completely shattered when I was transporting it because I don't have the car for it and I try to fit it aggressively, long story, but because I realized that I could do something else making this even easier. The next day, I packed up my miter saw and went to location at Annie's house for the patio makeover. I noticed that I can actually use this as one side, and instead of having 4 2x4s to be the posts, I could just have 3 by using basically 3/4 of a frame, if that makes sense. And then you're gonna be attaching it to the 2x4 of the finished side that we just did. I originally attached this frame with pocket hole screws to create the second wall of the AC unit cover, but I went back in with some brackets that I ended up having on hand in my trunk, just like flowing around from my Allie's actual bathroom makeover, that I used to extra secure it, and then I'm later going to be replacing it with the correct size brackets, just so it's not wobbly or bending back and forth. Just because I look insane, I'm reminding you I had a heat rash when I was doing this, so you see like a cooling neck wrap on me, and then you see a headband, and it's just me trying to cool down. Feels like I'm getting hot flashes and going through menopause when I was doing this makeover. I installed those wood pieces the exact same way we did previously until it was complete. I actually was a piece short. However that happened, I have no clue, so I had to put a piece of blue tape on it that said replace, because I honestly would have forgotten. When I stepped back from this AC unit cover when it was finished, I just felt like something was missing. I didn't know if it was the color. I wanted to leave that up to Annie, or I needed to hang plants off of it, but I wanted to revisit the next day I came back. Monks! Instead of my assistant being Callie. Oh, that's graceful, my dude. 10 out of 10. Wow, you're gonna, wow. What are you doing, sir? Hi! So you guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm thoroughly impressed. This thing, not only does it cut like, I don't know, like butter compared to my old miter saw, this one's actually really quiet for being battery operated. I don't know why it was gonna be so, I thought it was gonna be so loud, but super quiet. This is gonna fold up. I'm gonna show you how I pack it up. I just wanted to get to the job, so that's why I didn't film me unpacking, but it's basically, obviously, unpacking is packing in reverse. Duh. Okay, long day. Okay, bye sir, nice talking to you. Monkey, stop eating stuff. Started breaking down the saw and the stand at 310 and wanted to give you guys a couple of my personal takeaways. Number one, I definitely don't think this is like a first time purchase miter saw. Like, I do believe you should get a corded miter saw, get familiar with it, especially if you don't have a lot of Milwaukee tools already, or you don't have a lot of Milwaukee batteries, because it is battery operated, and I feel like that kind of means like you should be familiar with other Milwaukee tools, and you should be able to have a bunch of batteries on hand. Like, you wouldn't want to purchase just this miter saw in one battery to kick off your miter saw experience. It took me 4 minutes in all to break this down and pack this up. I am actually very excited about this because I'm going to be working on different locations, and this is a great miter saw to have for like a traveling carpenter. Like I said earlier, I came back in and bought the proper 2-inch brackets to secure the corner pieces into place. That detail that I said earlier that was bothering me, well, I actually fixed that by using a 3/4 inch dowel as a quote-unquote trim piece, just to make those corners look a little bit cleaner. Since their AC unit is in a tight corner, I didn't want to make this cover permanently installed, so the brackets are holding it together. It is very secure, and you can actually pull it out if it needs to be spaced away from the AC unit a little bit more, or a repairman can actually remove it with complete ease because it's not heavy whatsoever. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this easy DIY AC unit cover for under 40 bucks. And thank you so much to Home Depot for sending over that Milwaukee cordless miter, because I think the more I use it, I'm gonna fall more in love.